and hello, Matt.
Hey,
Hey,
Dean.
Dean.
It is wonderful to talk to you, especially second season. I'm a big fan of the show, and I love how it's been going. And the first thing I want to start with, let's talk about the way season two really raised the stakes with the Cold War, since it has really escalated in the 9 years that has passed for these characters. How did you decide what to keep and what to change from the space shuttle era for the second season? And I'm going to start with you, Ben.
Well, it was challenging because I think we wanted to keep the space shuttle, but I think we also wanted to, the reality is the space shuttle was designed for Earth orbit, not to get to the moon. So that required us to make some adjustments to the space shuttle so that it would get to the moon. And that led us down a road of thinking, well, what would be the further evolution of the space shuttle? So as you'll see this year, I think the fun of the show is we can take these ideas that we're familiar with and then expand on them and build, like the Sea Dragon, something that you hadn't seen before, now suddenly is a part of our show, but still somehow feels real and grounded in our history.
Matt, follow up with that.
Yeah, the other element of that is the historical elements of, Reagan is still president in the 80s, but in our alternate history, he beat Ted Kennedy in 1976 instead of in 1980. And so we want the show to feel familiar in that nostalgic 80s way, but also different. Like, in season two, there are electric cars and things like that, little things that it feels different and what we know at the same time.
Now, the character stories that we are being told through the second season and delved into have got expanded, especially with some of the secondary characters. And I'd like to know, how you decide where did you want these characters to go from the 1970s to the 1980s? And I'm going to start with you, Matt.
Well, we have a very extensive writing process. We sit in a room with our writing staff and just talk through each character's journey, and it's a lot of exploration in the beginning of what would have happened to these characters in the intervening 9 years, and for some characters, life hasn't gone as well as they hoped it would, and for other characters, they're living their best version of their life. And so it was a lot of fun, and it was really interesting to sort of pick and choose who's doing well, who's not doing well, and then play that out over the course of the season against the backdrop of this Cold War on the moon.
What were some of your favorite episodes from the first season? Ben, start with you.
I really loved episodes 7 and 8. I feel like that's when the show really came into its own in a way, of seeing the crew stranded on Jamestown, the three of them. And then seeing Karen Baldwin have to deal with what happens in episode 8. I think those two shows are where I really saw the power of what this series can be. And yeah, so I think moving ahead, a lot of what the show is about is not just the astronauts in space, but what are the impact on Earth and what's going on Earth. And I think those episodes kind of really brought that across.
Absolutely. How about you, Matt?
I have a soft spot for episode 4, where Molly launches to go to the moon, because I felt like that was where our show really hit its stride in terms of the tone and the storytelling, and
seeing some of these new characters really fully embrace their path. And I just thought it came together in a really beautiful way.
Which character in For All Mankind do you associate most closely with? I'm going to start with you, Matt.
I would like to say Ed Baldwin, but that's not true. It's probably honestly Margot, because she's very cerebral and awkward.
I
would
probably
say
Richard Nixon is the closest to me. I associate with.
I gotta ask why. Why Richard Nixon?
He's a manipulative bastard behind the scenes, changing history as we know it. Although there are certain things about Nixon that I definitely want to associate myself with. So just the good things. But I love that. I love that in our history, Nixon was responsible for, a lot of what happens. And in our real history, he actually did have a big impact as well. So, yeah.
What better way to exit this interview? Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. And I'm looking forward to season 2, February 19th. And so does all the fans. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you.